What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 10-7 MMA Podcast. We are back with our usual Friday time. We're just in different locations right now. Justin is coming to us live from Montana. He's got a fighter fighting this weekend. I saw that on the card. He's fighting Inahosa, I believe, who's a legend in Montana. And Lars
Ransom.
Ransom Inahosa, right?
Oh, his last name's Inahosa. Okay, I thought you.
Yeah.
Never mind. Yep, Ransom
Yeah.
Inahosa. Yes.
Yeah, no, he's cool. I know his mom too. I've talked to his mom a bunch, and that's going to be a great fight in Montana for Fusion Fight League. But anyways, we are back with our show. Justin, when did you get into Montana?
I got in here like 9:30, 10 o'clock. Had to be at the airport at 5 a.m. It's just these early mornings just freaking suck. So as soon as we got here, me and Lars went to sleep. Woke up about 2 o'clock. He jumped on the treadmill about 30 minutes ago. He has a tough cut, man. He has 9 pounds to go from when we got on. So he's on the and the worst part is we anticipate having a bathtub, in our hotel, so we can get in there and lay down. So
Sure.
I just walked into my hotel, laid down, got up, and I was like, "Here, Lars, come to my room. We jump in the tub." I go into the tub, and I go into the bathroom, and it's a standing shower. So we are kind of scrambling right now. Not the ideal situations for cutting weight, but we're making do with what we have.
Okay, well, I know I've never cut weight, but you've talked to me about how it's the worst part of the entire fight game. So I wish you guys the best of luck. We got Tehran says, "What's up, my guys?" King Turzy says, "Hey, there they are." Sorry we're late, guys. I hope you saw the post. I posted on the channel that we were going to start at 2. Starting a little earlier than I thought, but yeah. And King Turzy says, "How come UFC never goes to Montana?" That's a great question. That would be such a great state to go to. People are such huge fight fans out there. We got MGAL4 Production says, "Magomed going to finish Alex." Big Magomed Ankalaev fan. Look, I'm a fan of Ankalaev as well, but man, I got to admit, I want to see Pereira win and get it back because I think it'd be a cool storyline, and it'll be cool either way. Okay, we've got a lot to talk about since our last show. There were major UFC announcements. I made a video about it from UFC 320 and 321. 4 huge fights have been announced since our last show, so we got to get into the mix right now, and we're gonna start at the top with UFC 320, the headliner, the banger headliner that people are already alluding to and talking about. MGAL4 Productions is talking about it. We got the big dogs, well, second to biggest big dogs, Alex Pereira versus Ankalaev. Justin, I already gave my 2 cents on this fight just in terms of my excitement level and the fact that I want to see what can happen when these guys go at it again. Pereira claims that he was dealing with an injury of some sort when he fought Ankalaev the first time when he lost. What do you expect out of this fight, assuming Pereira was indeed dealing with a severe injury? Do you see a different outcome, or do you see something similar go down?
I mean, when the fight was so close, I didn't see pure domination from Ankalaev. So, it's anything can happen. This is a coin flip fight. I think the fight's going to look similar to what it is. I think these guys are going to have minor adjustments. I don't think there's going to be any huge changes in the game plan on either side. Again, when you have such a close fight and you have 2 such great fighters on both sides, it's really hard to make a prediction here. I want Pereira to win. I think it's better for the division. I mean, even since Ankalaev has won the belt, like I haven't seen him in any pressers. I haven't seen him doing really anything to gain me as a fan. When you have Pereira on the other side, he's always doing interviews. He's doing these funny videos online. It's just he's a fan favorite, and I just think it's better for the UFC for him to be the champion. Ankalaev, an incredible fighter, but again, he just doesn't have that razz that gets me excited. When he's not getting ready for a fight, he's just out of the public eye, and to me, out of sight, out of mind. So I lose a lot of luster for him when I feel Pereira is the other way around.
It's very interesting that we saw Magomed have a really, really great success in terms of his kickboxing. I've heard some people say that they actually think Ankalaev is a better kickboxer than Pereira, which is very interesting because we consider Pereira at the absolute precipice, at the top of the top. But Ankalaev showed a lot of grit and a lot of skill. And also, I know that people are. I've heard a really interesting take on this that maybe because Pereira quote unquote stuffed like 11 takedown attempts from Ankalaev, he's going to have a false sense of confidence when Ankalaev maybe now be able to take advantage of that and be able to get a takedown. Who knows? Again, even though he didn't land takedowns, his grappling really stifled Pereira, and perhaps that was the plan all along. We don't know. It's going to be an interesting matchup. I'm curious to see what happens because I feel the same way as you. I'm a big fan of Pereira. I know he does a lot in the media. People absolutely love the guy. So if he was able to turn around and get the victory, I think it would be better overall. Just saying, I know there's a lot of Ankalaev fans out here that might get, I'm not saying we don't like Ankalaev, but I think like, let's just be honest, I think Pereira would make it more interesting if he was able to win. If he doesn't win, the other option for Pereira is to move up to heavyweight. That could still be cool, and him try to go for 3 belts. That would be wild. But anyways, big fight, big announcement. This is only one of three. Sorry, one of three that were announced for this card. The other huge one, Justin. How excited are you for this? Your boy back in the mix, Merab, with another title defense. Yeah, take it away. Tell us your thoughts about this matchup.
Merab, the greatest bantamweight in the history of the sport, in my opinion, man. He's just nobody's been able to crack his puzzle. I don't think Corey Sandhagen is going to be any different. To stop the output that Merab puts out is just going to be incredible. It's going to take somebody special. I'm not saying it's in 100% he can't do it because it's such a predictable game plan. You know, Merab's just so good. He tells you what he's going to do before the fight, not by verbally telling you, but just by doing it every single fight, time and time again. He doesn't really change his game plan. I expect the same outcome.
You know what's really cool about Merab's ascension and his rise and what's happening. By the way, he's also won over a lot of the big YouTubers in the MMA space that used to not like him, but now they've turned and now they've started to like him. And it's not that I didn't like him before. I just was rooting for Sean O'Malley, or I was rooting for some of his opponents. Like I wanted to see what would happen if Umar Nurmagomedov got the victory. I like that guy, right? But what's cool about Merab right now is, including me, he's just won over a lot of people. And on top of that, you can see, like, as he's starting to build this incredible legacy, as you mentioned, you already consider him the best bantamweight of all time. He's building this legacy. Now fans like me, who also want to see greatness be established, we want to see how long this train can keep going. So I heard some people talking negatively about this fight and this matchup because they're saying, oh, Merab's just going to go in there and he's going to probably beat Corey Sandhagen. So they're not as intrigued by it. I don't look at it that way. I look, maybe he is favored in the matchup. Maybe might be a slightly better striker version of like what we saw versus Sean O'Malley. But Merab, yeah, he may be favored. But as you mentioned before, right? What do you always compliment Anderson Silva about? About having this super long streak of title defenses. John Jones, super long streak of title defenses. So it's not even necessarily like, oh, it's going to be a crazy banger matchup. I want to now see how long Merab can keep this going at the young age of 34. How long can he keep having these successful title defenses, stay in the right mindset, etc. So that's what's exciting to me. Do you agree with that take?
Yeah, 100%, man. It's awesome to see a guy like him come in. And it's not like he's knocking everybody out. Like Anderson Silva didn't have to go 25 minutes too often. I mean, he had so many knockouts, highlighting knockouts, you know, and again, finishing those fights early take wear off your body. When you have Merab, on the other hand, who typically does go to decision, he does get finishes every now and then, but it's not like he's knocking people out in the first round hardly ever, if at all, or finishing with submission. So, you know, all the miles, I mean, I'm just wondering how long the body can you know, keep it going, especially when you're fighting for 25 minutes after 25 minutes. But he just keeps defying all the odds, and people are like, oh, well, I think people should start training more like him to be in better shape. And it's like sometimes there's just anomaly like this guy that doesn't matter. It's just, it could be genetics. Nobody really knows how he keeps this going for so long. So yeah, I'm very curious to see how long he can keep it going as well.
With this particular fight style, where you're not getting a lot of finishes, you're not getting a lot of submissions, and it's usually reliant on this extensive cardio, are there downsides in terms of longevity of somebody's career? Meaning, because of the style, do you think there's a cap on his legacy and his stretch as champ, or you think it's just so dependent from person to person that it's impossible to say?
Yeah, I think it's just dependent on person to person. You know, he being mentally strong over and over and over and over, and then being physically strong, and then having continue to have the perfect fight camps because you know it's great when you have an opportunity to have a good fight camp and you did everything right and everything's perfect and then everything goes out the way you expect it to. But to do that over and over and over is very, very tough. And I'm not going to say Merab can't because he's shown time and time again that he can. Just like you, I'm just excited to see how long he can do it.
Me too. I can't wait. I'm also a huge fan of Corey Sandhagen. If you listen to his interviews, which you know me, I listen to everything. I just like his mindset and his mentality, how he approaches the game, how he looks at it as an opportunity for personal growth, as an opportunity for self-expression, like a true artist and somebody who's, I don't know, man, he's just grounded and I like the way he thinks. I will be rooting for Merab, though, in this one, even though I'm a big fan of Corey Sandhagen. God, and I feel like such a hater because this is like the first time that I've been rooting for Merab. I was rooting against him when he fought Sean O'Malley the first time. I was rooting against him when he fought Umar, rooting for Sean O'Malley again in their last fight. But now I'm on the Merab train. Not that I wasn't before, but now I will be rooting for Merab 110%. So, anyways, can't wait to see this fight. Let me know what you guys think. I see Turan has a quick comment. He says, I have a feeling Dana's going to announce some more fights.
Mm.
Two, he's going to announce Topuria
Walk straight up there, and
Gaethje.
there's
So,
a
yo,
left to the
Teron,
right.
talk to me about this. I've been hearing this through
I'll
the
just drop
grapevine.
this for you.
So, why do you feel so confident
Lars,
that it is
tuck in
going to
your shirt so the
be?
heat doesn't
Hold on, I'm
escape.
going to mute Justin. Why do you feel so confident that it's going to be Topuria versus Gaethje? Because I've been hearing this. Even MMA Guru said this yesterday on the stream that he thinks that the UFC has already told Topuria that this fight with Gaethje is not happening. I'm sorry, this fight with Arman is not happening, and that's why it's kind of trolling Arman. That's why people think that the Gaethje fight is happening. Have you heard this as well? MGAL4 Productions says Patty versus Arvid. Did you hear Patty talking smack about Arvid saying he doesn't want to fight him either? It's like nobody wants to fight Arvid. I don't get it. All right, sorry, Justin. I had you on mute for a second while you were talking to Lars. But yeah, Tehran said that he thinks they're going to announce Topuria versus Gaethje. Dude, I think it's going to be that as well. Even MMA Guru has talked about the fact that he thinks that the UFC has told Topuria that Arman's not getting the next fight. And we're going to talk about that later on in the show. But anyways, it's very interesting. Have you heard anything about Topuria's next matchup for the lightweight division?
No, I have not.
It might be your boy. It might be what's it called, Justin Gaethje, which I'm all for. I know a lot of people are pissed off about it, MMA Joey in particular, but I actually don't mind that fight. Imagine Jaynes versus Pimlet. You think you could smoke Pimlet?
I'm not going to say I could smoke him, but I just saw him get ragdolled in the gym by a 3-0 pro the other day. Submitted like 2 or 3 times in a round.
Really?
So by a pro that's early in his career. Austin
Huh.
Clayton, I got to watch him fight on Tough Enough. He's super great prospect, but he came in there and just ragdolled.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was.
Patty Pimlet?
I'm not really supposed to talk about that kind of stuff because it's
Okay,
practice.
okay. I don't want to get you in
But
trouble.
I'll leave it at that.
Okay, let's move out of yeah. Okay, so we got a new comment from I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. After seeing what Ilia said with the Nelkois, I think Ilia's terrified of Arman. Okay, listen. Let me tell you what MMA Guru said about this because he commented on this. It may be that, right? It may be that he's ducking because he's saying I'd rather give him my belt than fight Arman, right? It appears that way. This is what MMA Guru said. And at this point with this following, he's probably got a lot of good sources that are reaching out to him and giving him the scoop. He's saying that he believes the UFC has already told him that they're not going to give Arman the fight, that they want Arman to fight somebody else. And so he's not going to get the title shot. They're probably going to give it to Gaethje. And that's why he said that, because he's intentionally trolling Arman and just trying to, I don't know. I don't know if this is true or not, but that's my take. So I don't think it's necessarily fear. Do I think he's the worst matchup at 155? Yes, I do agree with that, but I don't think that's why our Ilya was saying that. But hold on, let me see this. He says that MMA Guru is so biased. He does not. You think so? I mean, I get it. He's got his biases, as we all do in certain cases, but I don't know. I feel like he wouldn't just say that straight out of bias, but it could be. Toronto's 323 is probably going to be Islam versus JDM. Oh my God, yo, the second half of the year, starting now even. Oh my God, these fights are so great. I cannot wait. And it will be Holloway versus DeBronch for the BMF. Okay, Tehran, we need to take a screenshot of this comment, and we'll check back later in the year once the stuff gets announced. I bet you're right. You seem to know your stuff. All right, let's move it on to fight number 3 that was announced. Justin, after Rountree beat your boy Jamal Hill, had an amazing performance. He talked about this whole fight and everything on Rogan, the growth he had from Alex Pereira to fighting Jamal Hill. He talked about the intelligence that he acquired, him not engaging with Jamal Hill. And that pissed Jamal Hill a lot. A lot of times Rountree would just back up instead of just fight. But that's what led him to a dominant victory and to get that win over Jamal Hill. What are you expecting from this matchup, Jiri versus Rountree? What's your excitement level?
Yeah, like Roundtree, a big fan of him, man. Even he just beat my boy Jamal Hill, so I'm gonna have to get behind the train on this one. I think Roundtree looks like a better fighter every time he steps in the ring, and I expect no different in this matchup. Yuri does a lot of unorthodox things in his fight camp, and I think long term those things are gonna hurt him. He says, about Way of the Samurai, and he does this because of that, does this because of that, but the proof is in the pudding. When you have ways that you train in these champions, it's hard for me to get behind. And I'm a big Yuri fan. I think he's awesome. I think he's a great role model for the sport. I think he's a great fighter. But when it comes down to brass tacks and you're doing all these unorthodox ways of training, I think long term it's just not going to pay off.
Tehran is picking Roundtree. I'm inclined to pick Roundtree as well. It's kind of tough because I actually really like both of these guys. And one of the reasons, of course, why I love Khalil Rountree is because his base is Muay Thai. Hey, Justin, let me ask you a question. We've been having a fun little debate in the comments of that Luke Rockhold video that I have that's been kind of spiking, where he's calling all BJJ practitioners the P word. If you had to pick one martial art to train, like let's say your son in or something, for just pure self-defense in street fights, what would you choose between BJJ, American wrestling, Muay Thai, and like I don't know, karate or something?
And people are going to call me biased because I was a wrestler in college, but it's 100% wrestling, and there's no anybody with any intelligence would say otherwise. And I know that you'll get well, Muay Thai and this. All right, well listen, I mean, here, Huzefa, like you've been training Muay Thai for a long time. I think you're very skilled considering being a civilian. Like I think in a street fight you can take on a lot of most civilians. But what happens when I get my hands on you? What happens when I'm a college wrestler and I get
I'm
my
dead.
hands on? You're dead. You're a fish out of water. And it only takes one catch. You look at someone like Sean Shirk. Early in his career, man, he would take so much damage, to come in here and just to get his takedowns in. And I think for one, conditioning wise, it's the hardest sport in the world. That's why matches are only seven in college. They're only 7 minutes. You go 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. And, and not to mention, you got to do that 5, 6, 7 times in a day. When you have Muay Thai, you go in, 3 3-minute rounds, or even say 3 5-minute rounds, but then you're done for the day. Wrestling by far, and boxers always disagree with me. And it just shows me how unintelligent. Like, well, boxers have great footwork. It's like, why? Okay. I totally understand that. Wrestlers don't have footwork. They have stance and they
Yeah.
have pressure. But why have no boxers been able to transition and have a successful MMA career? And then you have this on the other hand. It's like I'm not going to say the exact number, but it's some crazy statistic. They took every MMA champion from the history of like day one, and they said like what was their first sport, and some crazy statistic was like I'm not going to say exactly what it was, but so many of them, more than half of them, might even be 75% of them, started with a wrestling base. So there is absolutely no argument to say that any other art is better than American wrestling.
Okay, and I don't disagree. By the way, I wasn't trying to say Muay Thai by
Oh
any
no no
means. I
no
was
no!
just
I
asking.
never
Yeah,
thought.
yeah.
Nope nope no. It wasn't. It's just like
Okay.
anybody that says any otherwise has never actually been in a street fight. Because I'll
Yeah.
take some of my high school wrestlers right now and put you in a street fight with them, and you're not going to win. It just shows how dumb some people are, or not even dumb, just inexperienced. Like if you grew up boxing, like whatever art you grew up with. I still have Taekwondo people come up to me and they're like, "Oh, Taekwondo is the greatest thing ever," and it's like, bro, it fucking sucks. Like it's fucking terrible. It's you have like. I'm trying to think. What's the you have Sambo, which I think is incredible because you
Yeah.
have wrestling in there. But if you're
Yes.
gonna take one art, probably Sambo is the most credible because it's the closest thing to MMA. But if you're gonna take like a strict art, American freestyle wrestling to me is the biggest because you can pick guys up, drop them on their head, catch legs from kicks. Boxers can't. I don't care what anybody says. Like the pressure a wrestler can put on you and the damage you can take coming in for his shots, and he's going to crowd your space too. So there's no doubt in my mind, American wrestling.
I didn't even include boxing because to me that's a foregone conclusion. I just don't see how a boxer can stack up to just like a Muay Thai practitioner, like a reasonable one that's throwing heavy leg kick. Like there's just too many things that
100%.
they're not prepared for. Yeah, so I wouldn't even throw that in the mix. All right, we got another couple comments. So we're going to move on. Tehran wants to ask you specifically: do you think Jamal Hill will fight again this year? I don't think so. Justin, what do you think?
I don't know, man. It's tough to say. Jamal hasn't been in the gym as of recent. He hasn't been down to Vegas as of recent. I'm not sure what's going on with Jamal. Maybe he's taking some time just to recover and figure out the mistakes he's making and try to better. Because Jamal Hill is such an athlete, incredible fighter. When things start going wrong as they have been going for Jamal Hill, sometimes it's good just to take a break from the sport, let your coaches reevaluate what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and try to improve the game plan. Because unfortunately for Jamal Hill right now, is whatever he's doing just isn't working.
Well, I believe he mentioned that. Don't quote me on this, but I believe he posted a video after losing to Khalil Rountree, saying he was going to take some time to pause and retool. So, Tehran, you can check that out. But I'm pretty sure he has said that. Okay, guys, I put out a survey, and let me know if in the comments too if you like the surveys that I'm putting out. We got a lot of votes on this. I put down all of these 4 fights that have just been announced and said, what are people most excited for? You're not going to believe it, Justin. The fight that people are most excited for is Ciryl Gane, your favorite fighter, versus Tom Aspinall. the new undisputed heavyweight champ. Now, I actually agree that I am most excited. No, wait. Let me back up for a second. No, I'm not going to say I'm most excited. I'm very excited for this fight. No, I'm not most excited, but I'm very excited. I'm probably more excited for Pereira versus Ankalaev. Actually, and Merab versus Sandhagen. That being said, this is very interesting to me, as we mentioned before, because I think a lot of people believe that this is a foregone conclusion that Aspinall is going to win. I disagree. And I think also, not only do I disagree, I think if Gane does pull it off, it's going to be bonkers. John Jones is going to come back and have a field day. It's going to be crazy. Everybody's going to be so shocked. So let me turn it over to you. Are you going to sleep through this one? Are you going to take your bathroom break when this fight is on? Or are you actually excited to see what happens?
I'm not excited for this fight because all this fight does is just prompt us to talk about John Jones for another 2 years, man. This fucking sucks. Like I'm not, and it's not the matchup I'm not looking forward to. It's the post fight that I'm not looking forward to because I know as soon as this fight happens, we're not going to want to talk about the matchup. We're going to talk about what John Jones says. And it's just, I'm so sick of talking about John Jones. Ciryl Gane, I know you think that I have a lot of hate for him. I don't have a lot of hate for him, actually. I think he's a great fighter. I mean, he's fighting for the UFC championship, man. And who am I to say that somebody at that level is terrible? I just was very unimpressed by his performance with John Jones. I think he's had some good fights then. I had a lot of hype of him going into that fight. And then just to see him kind of roll over and die so fast. Now, if Tom Aspinall doesn't go in there and put a staple on him like this, now John Jones goes, oh, see, I finished him in the first round and Tom wins the decision, or finishes in the fourth round. And then we have to fucking talk about it. And then I'm probably going to make a video about it. Then you're going to make a video about it. And we're going to be talking about it for weeks. And I'm just so over. It's just not. I'm just so sick of talking about the irrelevancy of John Jones. And, to go from such a fan of his to like so sick of hearing about it and so sick of talking about it.
It is sad.
And it is because we're not even talking about Tom and Gane. We're talking about John and Gane, what happened in their fight. And that's all we're essentially going to be talking about. And John's going to be like, I finished him in the first round and it took him 4 rounds or 5 rounds or 2 rounds or whatever it was. If it goes past the second mark of how John finished him, we're just going to be talking about it for the next couple of weeks. So as for the matchup, I'm sure I'll watch it, but I'll be watching it rooting for Tom Aspinall, hoping for a quick first round finish.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be going the other way. I'm going to be not only going to be rooting for Gane, I'm actually going to put money on him. I guarantee you there's going to be favorable odds on Ciryl Gane just because of the zeitgeist and the way people feel. But mark my words, and I know this sounds like me being a hater, and it sucks because I do like Tom Aspinall a lot, and I'm a big fan of his. I'm going to just mute Justin for a second. So I hope he doesn't, well, maybe I'm being a little bit of a hater here, but like if Gane does pull this off, people are going to get like all the people that have just been going after John Jones for so long. It's just because all that stuff, the duck and all the stuff, I just thought it was overplayed and just kind of got on my nerves after a while, maybe for different reasons than Justin. So to have all that just silenced instantly, I think is going to be a bit satisfying for me, myself. I don't know, but we shall see. I know Tehran said he's picking Tom Aspinall, so let's see. But I think Ciryl Gane is massively underrated. I know you guys might say, oh, well, he basically lost to Volkov. Fine, you can say that. But that's Volkov. Volkov's a legend. Volkov's really tall. He's hard to deal with. He's got a lot of skill. So I think Ciryl Gane, and I think he's got a great shot. Okay, let's move it along to topic number 5. So this is the one that I want to talk about. And I know you guys are saying that Ilia is potentially ducking Arman. So like I said, you could say maybe Meguru has it wrong or maybe he's being a hater. I don't know. But it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. I've never heard of a fighter say that they would refuse to fight the number 1 contender, and if they make them fight, they'll vacate the belt because that's just not done. Nobody would do that. I do not believe that Ilia would actually do that, and I feel like he's only saying that to mess with Arman because he's been told it's not. I don't know. Although, if the UFC told him. See, now I'm thinking about it in real time. If the UFC told him that he wasn't going to fight him, maybe he'd be more inclined to be like, yeah, bring it, Arman. I'll fight you. I'll whoop you. But he knows, like, that's not going to happen. I don't know what's going on. I'm kind of confused. Well, let me see what people are saying in the comments. Jake Furman says, the funny thing is, even if Gane pulls it off, it doesn't change the duck narrative. It will. Jake, what's up? By the way, I saw your back and forth on the Paulo Costa video. Thank you for chiming in there. That was cool. But also, Johnny Monday, if you're listening, hope you're not upset, and I hope
all the way down
you're still. Oh, let me mute Justin again. I know you're still welcome here and welcome to voice your opinion. I hope you don't take any offense to anything that Jake or what I said in the video and stuff like that. But we're just having fun here. But anyways, Jake, welcome back, and fellow Hamza fan, let's go. But anyways, yeah, Justin, what do you make of Ilia saying that he doesn't want to fight Arman? Now, granted, didn't make it. It wasn't a terrible point. He's like, look, I don't want to get in there and fight somebody who's going to pull out and have some stupid injury, which is really, we know, was probably a weight miss. He's like, I don't want to be scheduled to fight somebody because that's bad for business. And if they make me fight him, I'm just going to vacate. I'm going to relinquish the title. Why do you think Ilia said that? Do you think he's serious? Do you think he just really doesn't want to fight Arman? Do you think he's messing with Arman? Like, what do you think's going on?
You know, excuse me, sorry. I'm not really sure here, man. It's kind of funny. I think he's selling wolf tickets because you don't have, doesn't matter who you are, you can't say, oh, I'm gonna vacate my belt. Like, do you know how pissed Dana White will be if he vacates his belt because
Yes.
they gave him a certain matchup? Now I think they can make stipulations in his contract. Is in that big room? Sorry, this Lars is having
That's
a hard
okay.
time. We got here, and there's no hot tub. There's the room we're cutting weight in is 65 degrees. Like I just went and talked to the commission. I'm like, I have no idea how we're gonna make weight. We got here having to cut 10 pounds with the expectation. But back to Ilya and Arman.
Dude, if
Um,
you have to go, I can wrap up the show. By the way, just
no,
guys
no,
letting
no,
you know,
no,
Justin.
totally
Okay, okay,
fine. Yeah,
okay. Just
totally
keep me
fine. Lars
posted.
is just on the treadmill right now. Yeah, I mean, as long as you guys are cool with me going in and out, just because I've
Yeah,
make
yeah,
sure you
yeah.
know
Of
it's
course, of
so and
course.
so forth. But
Yeah.
I think he's just selling wolf tickets, just kind of demonstrate the power he has. He wants to show him that he's the superstar and his shots. He's going to call his shots. But I think Dana White said, and I saw a great debate, and maybe we'll make a video about it. Is how Dana White doesn't want superstars in the UFC anymore. He wants the best fighters in the world, but he doesn't want superstars like Conor McGregor because when you have Conor McGregor superstar, like a superstar like Conor McGregor, he can call all his shots, and the UFC kind of has to just bow to him. Now you look in the same sense. You look at Ilya could be trying to show his power too. Like, hey, I've beaten all these great guys. Now I get to handpick my opponents. So, I like I said, Tehran. I'm with Tehran on this one. I think he's trolling. I think
I think so
he
too.
wants to be considered one of the best ever, and one of the best ever don't do that.
I want to make a video too that's going to piss so many people off. I know like MMA Joey is up in arms about this, but I don't see why Justin Gaethje is such a bad opponent for Ilia Topuria. I mean, if you look at his track record, if you look at his last four fights, he made the point that he's 3-1, and the one that he lost was because he did a favor for the UFC. People are giving him shit about fighting Fiziev as his last fight, ranked number 11th. But again, remember, he was matched up against Dan Hooker. It wasn't supposed to be Fiziev. It was against the number 5 guy. That wasn't his fault that Dan Hooker had to pull out with an injury. I don't know, man. The more I think about it, plus Justin Gaethje's a legend. Who doesn't want to see Justin Gaethje fight? We all want to see him fight. If people just calm down and yeah, and look, I can't pronounce your name, dude, but like, because I think that's Russian letters, but it says Ilya's going to sub Gaethje if they fight. Yeah, even if that happens, fine. Like, that's fighting. We don't know how it's going to go. Yeah, Gaethje might lose. Ilya's favorite to win, but like, it's not as though Justin is so undeserving of the title shot. I think he's very deserving. And again, Arman screwed up. He missed weight. He had to pull out at the last minute. He screwed up that entire event. The UFC said from the get go he needs to have one more fight at least before to get back. So I don't see how everybody's forgetting that or glossing over that. All the people that are defending Arman. So, anyways, I'll make a video about this. But I see if you even just look numerically at the numbers mathematically, I don't see why Justin Gaethje shouldn't get in there. So I'm all for it. I think Arman's pretty. I mean, I think Ilya's hilarious the way that he is trolling people. If this is a troll, and that's what makes him a cool champ. He's got the skill, but he's got some smack talking ability. He really does. Okay, Justin. Now we're gonna move on to a couple non-UFC fights here that have been announced, but they involve UFC fighters, and it's actually pretty funny. So I don't think you probably watched the press conference for the last UFC event for UFC 318, but it was like really underwhelming. And as I mentioned to you, the only beef there was between Michael Johnson and Daniel Zellhuber. But of course, the reporters like didn't focus on that at all. Okay, so the presser was very underwhelming. They have been for the last several like UFC events. This Misfits boxing event with Luke Rockhold versus Darren Till. This was a lit press conference because they were prodding Darren Till, and Darren Till was just going off on Luke Rockhold. So I'm actually hyped up, even though this is a boxing match. But we got MMA legends going in there to box. Justin, let me turn it over to you as an MMA fighter. Are you hyped to see two guys who used to be at the top of the sport, top of the UFC, go out and fight, even when it's not MMA, even if it's boxing?
Not really. I'm not really a boxing fan. I don't really like watching boxing, and I feel a lot of MMA fighters that go over there, they kind of like, I mean, I can't think of really any MMA fighters that are transitioning to boxing and they're going in there and knocking everybody out. So, guys, I think this is going to get ready for a very long, boring decision. And, I'm a fan of Darren Till. I'm a fan of Luke Rockhold. But again, I'm just going to reiterate when MMA fighters transfer over to boxing, I always feel the matchups are very underwhelming. There's not a lot like Nate Diaz is over there guillotining his opponent and stuff like that. And I mean, I'll tune into that stuff, but I don't know, man. They have to have entertaining pressers because the fight itself, I don't think is going to be very exciting. They have to get eyes on the fight. They're trying to sell pay-per-views. I appreciate what they're doing, and I think they're both of them are more than deserving, especially Luke Rockhold, who I have a lot of respect for, going over to bare knuckle, going over and doing this now, and he's trying to go around and stay relevant. And you have Darren Till on the other hand, who's dabbled in boxing a little bit. Not a huge Darren Till fan. Not that I don't like him. I just don't know too much about him. When you have a former champion like Luke Rockhold go over, and I just don't think he's going to be the same guy after since getting his teeth knocked out by Mike Perry.
Dude, I am a big Darren Till fan, and I'm curious to see what Luke Rockhold can do. But Darren Till's a striker. I think Darren Till is going to smash Luke Rockhold. Luke Rockhold's coming in, he's talking confidently. Also, Darren Till's way younger, dude. Darren Till, he's only 33, I think, or 32. People think Darren Till's so old. He's still super young, and it probably just starting to get into his prime, given the time off he's had and whatnot. That's just a guess. But I think he's going to come in there, and I think he's going to smoke Luke Rockhold, and I think he's going to be a big guy for the Misfits boxing promotion. I wouldn't be surprised if Darren Till eventually has a super fight with Tyson Fury's brother, whatever that kid's name is, I don't know, the Fury guy, whatever, Tommy Fury. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a super fight against Tommy Fury and he smokes him. But at least one good thing about this, and I'm the same way, I'm not into boxing, but I will tune in to see two MMA legends fight each other in boxing. That makes sense to me because they're both MMA guys. They're both switching it up. They're going to see how it goes in a different skill set. And for both of these guys, what they've said in interviews is they like training boxing because it doesn't involve all the wear and tear that comes into play with sparring, full-on kickboxing, doing the wrestling training, which you always said is such a grind that a lot of people don't like it. So I think it's pretty cool, and I'm excited to see what goes down. All right, last fight. God, I don't even know. It's like I have such mixed emotions talking about this fight, but this is also on the Misfits card, and I think it's a big fight on the Misfits card. And I think it's most people just seeing if Tony can finally turn that momentum around and finally get a win. But God, I've seen footage of the Salt Papi kid, and I know he's not a professional fighter, but he has had a bunch of boxing matches. Granted, they've been influencer boxing matches, but he's like 8-1. He's quick, he's fast, he's way younger than Tony. And I mean, Tony's been fighting for a long time. He's obviously got higher fight IQ and way more experience. But I don't know. What do you think? What do you think's going to happen?
Man, I hate to see Tony Ferguson go out and lose to this YouTube guy, man. I mean, I'm such a fan of Tony Ferguson. Even when I tuned into all his fights. The guy is just somebody that's, I guess I've just been very fortunate. I'm not saying I have a personal relationship with him, but every time Tony and I have met, anytime we've talked, he always remembers who I am, man. It's just, I just have so much appreciation for that. We've talked online before.
No way.
I just got sent one of his designer wrestling shoes, which was pretty cool. I'm not sure if it was his manager. He sent it because being the head coach over at wrestling coach over at Extreme Couture that I just posted on Instagram just recently. But I just have so much respect for him.
Cool.
I think he's such a great guy, and I just hate to see him go in there and lose to a guy named Salt Papi.
I hated too, and I was even listening. I was talking, asking questions to MMA Guru on his stream, and he was just like, "I don't even want to talk about the fight." He's like, "Tony's broken," because he's a huge Tony Ferguson fan. He's like, "Tony just keeps breaking my heart," and he's like, "I do feel as though Salt Papi's going to win," and he's like, "It's such a bummer." He's saying he does. I think he said he doesn't even know if he's going to watch the fight. I'm not sure. Sadly, and I'm a big Tony Ferguson fan as well. I'm not saying he's like one of my top five favorite fighters of all time or anything, but I'm a Tony fan. I think most people who are MMA fans are fans of Tony Ferguson. But unfortunately, I think what's going to hold him back here is what seems to have held him back in a lot of his more recent fights is his speed. He just looks like he's slowed down so much, and I think that's going to be a problem. But one thing that Tony's got is that toughness. But there's no way Salt Papi's gone against anybody as tough as Tony before. So that's the one saving grace. We shall see. I am going to tune in no matter what happens. Because at the end of the day, Tony Ferguson's getting paid. So we got to be thankful for that, and we got to be grateful for that. Just to still have him around in combat sports, I think is pretty cool. All right, guys. I guess we did kind of a quick show today. We blasted through those topics. I'm just going to highlight a couple more comments. We're going to let Justin get back to the weight cut. I'm going to dip as well and go see my family. But we said, oh, I like Tehran's take here. I actually see where Justin Gaethje's coming from. People are calling him crazy. I'm going to make a full breakdown. I'm going to get so much hate. People are going to be so pissed. We're probably going to lose subscribers. But I'm going to make a breakdown as well, quantitatively breaking down why Justin Gaethje has a good stake to this claim of getting the next title shot. Tehran also says nobody had a problem with Justin getting. Yeah, I mean, no, I think some people did have a problem with it, but like they got forgotten once the fight got announced. People got excited, and Dustin gave a great fight against Islam Makhachev. So I mean, it's still a good point. I think Arman revealed he was so dehydrated from cutting weight that he didn't have any fluid in his spine, so he would have. Wait. I think Arman revealed he was so dehydrated from cutting weight that he didn't have any fluid in his spine, so he would have missed weight. I mean, I don't know. Maybe. There's something suspicious about that whole thing just based on Dana White's reaction. He clearly was calling BS in some form. You could say that, but obviously him and the medical staff, things didn't match up. Oh, that's all I'm saying. And then Justin made a really good video. You can watch his video. It's still on the channel. It's got like 5,000 views. You should check it out. But he does a deep dive into why it was just basically mismanagement of the weight cut, probably. But, it is what it is. And look, he just made weight recently. So it's not like they screwed something up, is what probably. Okay, allegedly. That's what I'm thinking. Last comment here, Tehran said, Ferguson, also Michigan guy. That's right. I'm in Michigan right now.
Correct.
What's up? Let's go.
That's correct.
All right, guys, we are going to wrap it up there. Justin, Guitar Hero James, if you guys do want to watch the Fusion Fight League event tomorrow, he's going to be commentating without. Who are you commentating with? You find out?
Wayne 10.
Hey, Wayne 10. Tell him I said what's up. I love that dude.
Will do.
He's a legend.
He is a good dude.
Oh, very smart guy. Super cerebral guy. He was in the Air Force for like
He's a former cop, right? He's a cop right now, isn't he?
Air Force. I don't think he was a cop. I can't unless I'm mixing it up. I'm pretty sure he's in the Air Force.
He's the guy that beat Chase Molina, right?
No, he didn't beat Chase Molina. He beat the guy that beat Chase Molina. I think his name is Braden Peterson or something. I can't remember for sure. But I know this guy's like he's a beast. He's the heavyweight champ right now for Fusion, but I'm pretty sure I'm remembering him right. Anyways, tell him I said what's up. That guy's a legend. That guy's going to go to the UFC. Mark my words, he's going to be in the UFC. So check out Justin if you guys want to see a future UFC fighter in the heavyweight division. He's going to be commentating with him, and he's got his boy Lars Wittenberger fighting as well. So let's wish Lars good luck. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining, and we will see you in our next episode on Monday. Take it easy.